Okay, you only have to look at how environmentalist groups responded to this, one calling it a historic day for the nation that this requirement was passed in Maryland. And you just have to look at what the schools already required when it came to graduation in Maryland, which is lots of environmental sciences in the form of earth sciences and life sciences, but that wasn't good enough. They had to do something else. Why not just strengthen those things if they really want to learn about clean water and clean air?
Do you want to know what their educational...
Steve,
do you want to know what it was? It's interdisciplinary. That's why.
The reason is because they do want to promote a political agenda, and you have to dig a little bit, but not too far.
What's political about the environment?
I will answer it. And the answer is you have to go to a couple of places like the National Environmental Education and Training Foundation, which is an arm of the EPA and is very much behind these kinds of laws. And one of the core curricula that they say is integral to any kind of an environmental literacy course is environmentally responsible behaviors, which includes forcing essentially active participation in things like consumer action, political action, their words, Steve.
How about you go out and clean up some runoff?
Steve, you know what? And
picking up litter is environmental action. Go, I see people out there doing it all the time. Adopt the highway, you clean it up.
You know what? Let me jump in. And that's all great. I have no problem with that. What I have a problem with is when it gets into the political world and they don't teach things,
It's not politics. It's science. Where is the politics?
Let's talk, Steve. The politics is in the skewing of the science. These kids are not learning that 1,000 years ago.
Wait, what's skewing about the Chesapeake Bay? You tell me the Chesapeake Bay does not have algae bloom.
When it says that human-caused change have consequences for Maryland's environment, what are they talking about?
You don't believe that?
Excuse me.
There is not. I'll tell you, Sean, it's not global warming. It's nitrogen and phosphorus in the Chesapeake Bay.
Betsy.
It's not global warming.
Let me finish. 1,000 years ago, the Earth was 2 to 4 degrees warmer than it is now, and it was a time of incredible flourishing for humankind before we headed into a colder period. Those kids are not learning about that. They're also not learning about the dangers of extreme environmentalism, a classic example of which is the banning of DDT to fight malaria. We'd almost eradicated the Earth of malaria, Sean, after World War II. But in the early 60s, Rachel Carson, in her book Silent Spring, Faulty Science, there has been absolutely no peer-reviewed research.
It has nothing to do with what Maryland is doing.
Yes, it does, Steve.
It's not climate change. No, it's not either. You read me where it says the word climate change.
We got to run. You got to read it in more specificity, Steve, and understand what this is. We got to run. Thank you. All right, guys, time to check in with Greta Van Susteren for a sneak peek. Hello. You're not in Orlando tonight.
I am not, but we do have Mark Lippman, who is the attorney for George and Cindy Anthony tonight. We have something a little bit for everybody tonight. We also have Senator Orrin Hatch and Senator Mitch McConnell tonight. So no matter what your taste is in cable news, we have it all tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, so you don't want to miss our show. And boy, that was quite steamy just a second ago on your show.
Well, that's the way it always is on this show. I have no control as the host. By the way, that Casey Anthony thing is interesting to me. I'm not sure. I know Casey has lied a lot. I'm not sure about the story that she made about her father. What do you think?
I don't know about that, but I don't even know if it's even relevant, would ever get before the jury. Remember, this jury is sequestered. I don't know if the jury is ever going to hear this, but for what was said by Baez in the opening statement. And he could get an instruction at the close of the case saying the jury should disregard that. So this may come back to haunt him.
All right, Greta, we'll see you in 17 minutes from right now. Let not your heart be troubled on Great American Panel. Next. And tonight on our Great American Panel, she's a Fox News political analyst, Republican strategist. Angela McCloughan is back. He is the former vice chair of the DNC Finance Committee. Michael Brown is here. And I'll be Jesus. Todd Imus's longtime radio producer, Bernard McGurk. Cardinal, how are you?
Hey, Jesus, I'm feeling lovely tonight, Sean.
You're looking lovely.
The shamrock on.
You like the what does it say? FBI.
Yes.
So I got Secret Service and up here, and I got the FBI here.
You are straight.
And I'll still get arrested. If only I get the IRS, then I don't have to worry about my taxes.
Or the ATF, perhaps.
Exactly. That could be next.
DEA.
All right. Remember this, Obama, when he was running back in 2008.
At this defining moment in our history, the question's not, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? We all know the answer to that. The real question is, will our country be better off 4 years from now? How will we lift our economy and restore America's place in the world? We face real challenges, and they won't be easy to solve. But we can do it if we end the mindless partisanship, the divisiveness, curb special interest power, and restore our sense of common purpose. I'm Barack Obama. I approve this message and ask for your vote.
That is devastating for him.
Yeah, as it should be. And, clearly, I mean, the guy, he was a community organizer. He never managed anything, and so this is the result. And I guess one of the worst parts is his cavalier attitude toward the whole thing about, it's just a bump, or it's, shovel-ready, the shovel-ready crack. His administration, his presidency is going to be shovel-ready in about a year and 2 months. But, he's here in New York tonight, and he's up
$38,000.
Exactly, to go see some silly play up there. He should go see How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, or the Book of Mormon, so he knows what's going to hit him in about a year and 2 months.
Angel?
You know what? Congressman Clyburn, and I give him much respect, said that the president didn't have time to do the budget talks with Boehner and, Cantor walking out. But he had enough time to come up here for a fundraiser. And, Michael, he plans to raise $1 billion. And you and I both know that's to buy votes, because right now his approval rating is down. And you're going to have Acorn, you're going to have Get Out the Vote with unions and the whole 9 yards, because he can't stand on his leadership. And are you better off today than you were?
Do you think we're better off, Michael?
I certainly don't recall President Bush not having any fundraisers. I don't know why having a fundraiser is a problem.
Do you think America's better off?
But I have to address that. It's okay to have fundraisers if you're running for re-election.
It's okay.
There's nothing wrong
with that. Is America better off?
Absolutely, but keep in mind, you've heard me say it a million times.
Where are we better off?
What he inherited is something he's still trying to fix.
Made it worse.
I'm sorry. I'm not. I didn't say the name. I just said he inherited some issues that he's still trying to fix.
What did he fix? Tell me which metric is better.
He's still currently trying to fix what was broken.
3 years later, he's trying to fix it.
But I think a lot of folks are better off. They feel better about our country.
You know what he said 9 days into his presidency? He said, if the economy's not on track in 3 years, I won't get reelected.
And we talk about the unemployment rate. We're not looking at the Hispanic community and the black community. We are not better off. We have lost jobs. We have lost homes.
The African-American community now, unemployment is at depression levels.
Yes.
That's frightening.
Even Al Sharpton had to admit that. When he debated Sean, he had to admit that the unemployment rate.
Well, no, I don't think anyone's questioning the numbers. The question is, what's the origin of the numbers being so bad?
I'm
sorry, it happened in the preceding administration. It didn't happen under his watch.
How long can you blame Bush, though, Michael? How long can you blame Bush?
The problem he created. It's hard to move on from the problems he created over the last 8 years.
Carville came out with a poll, said this blaming Bush thing is over. It doesn't work anymore.
No, nor should it. But I think what's very telling, and I think you pointed this out or somebody did, is that his original economic team, the only thing the guy he has left is the tax cheat, the mealy-mouthed Treasury Secretary. Everybody's abandoned him. He has nobody that knows nobody knows what they're doing.
Sean, when you have Coburn and McCain, they come out with the top list of the wasteful spending. Did you know that we spent like $800,000 towards studying species, $1.9 million to teach computers how to tell jokes? That's where your stimulus dollars went.
When President Obama wins re-election, you'll say what? The American people made a mistake? Oh, I'll absolutely bet you on that.
President Romney, can you say that?
Please. What do you want to do? You want dinner? What do you want? I mean, I don't understand what you want to bet.
I want the stakes higher than that. Think about it in a break. More with our great. Oh, wait till you see this, what we got coming up next on our Great American Panel. And we continue with our Great American Panel. Who would ever think Barney Frank and Ron Paul get together and they have a bill to legalize marijuana? Good idea, bad idea?
Well, who could take anything that Barney Frank says seriously? He got caught with his pants down on the Freddie Mac thing, and Fannie Mae thing, and he probably
had the prostitution ring in his house.
Right, he needs a doped up electorate for anyone to take him seriously. But they should have stuck him in the joint along with Dollar Bill Jefferson. Stick him in the can.
Ron Paul is a libertarian, but I can't. I mean, but they say drugs can make strange bedfellows. But the bottom line is this: I take Ron Paul a little bit more seriously than Barney Frank.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, legalizing marijuana is, again, it's almost a conservative principle. Let the states decide. Ron Paul, you can take seriously. Barney Frank, just dummy up and go away. I mean, he makes Anthony Weiner look like Henry Clay. Just get off the stage. I mean, it's a disgrace.
What do you think about legalizing?
Essentially, you didn't mention anything about Senator Craig, just the Democrats. You don't mention the Republicans have had issues?
Oh, no, Senator Craig was an embarrassment, but he's not the one that's...
You didn't mention him.
Sean is bringing up the topic here.
I mean, we all have scandals, but we're talking about legalizing marijuana.
Yeah, it's just interesting.
What do you think about legalizing drugs?
He could have mentioned...
What do you think about legalizing drugs?
It's the states' rights.
States' rights. But you have kids, right?
I do.
All right, you want your kids smoking marijuana?
Of course not. Who would?
Who would?
All right, but look, would you rather have any law enforcement officer will tell you he'd rather arrest somebody who's high on pot than high on vodka.
But some people say that if you legalize pot, you're going to have to spend more government money in putting people in rehab. Then some police officers say
you can't put it in the same category as cocaine, crack, heroin. It's not the same thing. But it is a gateway drug.
But it's available. I could run out in the street now and get it before Greta's show is halfway done and put a bag of reefer right here for you. I could run out right now.
You could.
It's out there on the street. Anybody could. So you might as well regulate it.
I wouldn't know where to go.
I'd go right down the block. You kidding me?
Right down the block. Do you know where to go down the block?
I don't even have to. I could just walk down. I can find somebody. That's how readily available it is.
Well, that's the more frightening thing. So you're going to come in with marijuana joints from a stranger.
But it's already out there. In other words, they might as well.
But here's the difference between alcohol and I know it's a slight distinction. You can't smoke marijuana and not get high. I can drink a half a Heineken and I feel fine, fairly normal. Well, I drink three of them. I got a dopey smile on my face.
Have you tried it? In other words, you know this?
I'm just saying this. I'm reading the scientific data on this, Bernie. And what the scientists say.
Sean Hannity got halfway high.
Sean is right.
Exactly, half a Heineken.
If you start that, you might go on to something else.
Yeah, I heard. That's all Leave It to Beaver 1950 stuff. I mean, it's just, look, it's
So
there.
we should regulate it like alcohol. Just put it out there.
Absolutely. Tax it, get some revenue out of it.
I'm surprised because you work with young kids a lot. And, you're trying to help them. It's the last thing you want for your kids. It is readily available. And, it's like with tobacco. The government makes more money off tobacco than tobacco companies, and they act like they're doing us a favor.
Well, I think states' rights, and I'm surprised you're a states' rights person.
I am a states' rights person. Look, it's not the worst thing. I have a problem because our kids, we're already robbing them of their childhood.
Yes.
We talked in the last segment about indoctrination. There's a school in Massachusetts asking 12-year-old kids without the permission of their parents if they've ever had oral sex. You know what? Who are liberals to do this? How dare they ask these kids these questions? Can I
just tell you? There's a time that we need to step in.
Why don't you guys feel this way about guns? Why don't you feel that way about keeping guns off the streets? And you're talking about marijuana and states' rights.
And I think
my kids can't get my guns. I got an arsenal, and they can't get near my guns.
Let me just tell you something. You listen to the music. Worried about your kids' FM radio. It's all about drugs and booty and sex, and the cat is out of the bag. These kids are way more hipper than any of us sitting here. I'm talking about 14-year-old teenage girls.
Responsibility to allow our children to listen to that, okay? You have to take the responsibility to raise your kids. But in legalizing drugs, it'll make it more accessible.
Generally speaking, he's right, but there's pockets of kids that,
that
are protected. I wish every kid was protected, and I think it's possible, but it's like the culture just continues, the bar gets lowered almost every week.
We can continue to do the blame game, but we still can protect our children and tell them what's right and what's wrong, Sean. And I don't believe that we should.
No, that's well said. I agree. And you agree with that, right?
States' rights.
That's not even what I said.
All right. Are these your rolling papers here, buddy?
Oh, stop. I gave you that pipe before the show.
Bong aid.
We're just kidding. That's all the time we have left. Greta's next. Let not your heart be troubled. The news continues, and we will see you back here tomorrow night.